Hi everybody, I'm Miss Alene. I want to thank you for joining us again for Kids Corner on Armstrong Cable channels 20 and 100. Today we're at Austintown Intermediate School and we're going to have a lot of fun talking about scary frights, dark of night, and starry skies. So stay tuned for that and a very fun art project right here on Kids Corner, Armstrong Cable, channels 20 and 100. Hey everybody.
Hi.
How you guys doing today?
Good.
Good. I'm Miss Alene, and I want to thank you for inviting us over here at Austintown Intermediate School for Kids Corner on channels 20 and 100 for Armstrong Cable. So we are going to have a little bit of fun today, and we're going to talk a little bit about some things that maybe cause a little bit of fright, and starry skies, and the dark of night. So let's get started, all right? Hey, that kind of rhymed. I had a little Dr. Seuss going on there, didn't I? All right, so you guys are a little bit older, so this should be fun. You guys have actually had the benefit of outgrowing some of those things that used to scare you. Can somebody tell me something that used to scare them that they're not scared of anymore? How about you?
The dark.
The dark. How about you?
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson used to scare you? Okay, I can see. Was it Thriller? The Thriller video? That'll do it.
Anytime
Just any, Michael Jackson just wasn't your thing. Okay. How about you?
Thunder and lightning.
Thunder and lightning. I have a big, tiny horse of a dog that is a huge baby when it comes to thunderstorms. A thunderstorm could be on its way. We won't hear it, but we'll know because he starts freaking out. It'll be the middle of the night and he just starts whining and crying and banging, and he's broken out of his kennel and flown up the stairs, 2 flights of stairs up to the bedrooms, and jumps on the bed because he's just freaking out, and he's huge. He's like a small horse. So it's super funny because it's like, what are you scared of? And then we have a little dog who thinks he's a big dog, and he's just not even really fazed by it. He doesn't really care. He's just like, whatever. So that's kind of funny. But anyhow, back to you guys. What about you?
Being alone.
Being alone, that can be scary sometimes. And then you start imagining things, and then it gets even scarier because you don't have anybody to tell what you're imagining to, and just kind of get rid of it. Because sometimes talking about what you're scared of helps a little bit, right?
Yeah.
How about you?
Fire.
Fire. That's one that can be very scary, especially when you're little, because you don't really know how it works. And any kind of fire can be scary because you're being taught don't touch the fire. So then every fire, it could be a campfire, and you're like, oh, that's scary. How about you? Spiders. A lot of people have a fear of spiders, but most of the time they're okay. They're probably more scared of you than you are of them most of the time. How about you?
Police officers.
Police officers. You were scared of police officers? How'd you get rid of that fear?
I don't know.
Just learned that, they're kind of there to help, actually. They're not really scary unless you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing. Then most of the time, they're not really scary. How about you?
Dogs.
Dogs. Dogs can be very scary. If you're not, first of all, if it's not your dog, they can definitely be scary. If they're a big dog and they're barking, they can still be scary. I actually might get scared if it's the right dog, the right size, and he looks like he's just not trying to be friends with anybody. So how about you?
Cats.
Cats. Cats used to scare you. What scared you about the cats?
This one time I was at my friend's house and the cat was stretching and I was sitting on the couch and he was putting his claws on the couch, and I thought he was trying to scratch me.
Oh yeah, and they do have some kind of fierce claws going on there, don't they? But kitties aren't really all that scary unless they get really persnickety and funky and get in a funky mood. Then they can kind of get scary because they get all and yeah. How about you? Did you have your hand up? Okay, what used to scare you that you're not scared of anymore?
Glasses.
Your glasses?
No, drinking.
Oh, drinking glasses, that's different. What used to scare you?
Well, because I was like washing the dishes, and like I put a glass on the counter, and then I used the bathroom, washed my hands, came out, and then it was broken.
Oh, so it was kind of like, what is that about? Did you figure out how the glass got broken?
Because there wasn't anything on the counter, it just fell in those.
How's this? Was the glass hot?
Yes.
That's what did it. And that's another thing that we're going to talk a little bit about today. Temperature. When you've got a really, really hot glass or hot something that is glass, you can't put it on a cold surface because the shock of the temperature will make it break. Mystery solved. How about you?
Knives.
Knives. Knives can be kind of scary. And especially again, when you're little, you're taught, don't touch those. So then it's like, oh, okay, I'll never touch those until you learn that knives can be useful in their proper context. How about somebody I haven't heard from yet? I've heard from everybody? Okay, I gave everybody a chance. So let's go ahead and let's move on to our first story. And our first story is called Brave as I Can, a Book of Courage. And it kind of talks about same way we like learn to overcome our fears. Who was the person who was afraid of the dark? Okay, how did you get past being afraid of the dark?
Well, I don't really know. I just,
A little louder so I can hear you.
well, one time I just realized it wasn't actually that scary if you just...
Excellent. So you just gave a tip to everybody at home who might be watching and they might be scared of the dark still. So you are somebody who has overcome that fear because one day you just kind of went, there's nothing to really be scared of. Same stuff that's here in the light is here in the dark. Same stuff that's here in the dark is here in the light. Nothing different. How about you? How did you get past your fear of the dark?
I just told my mom and dad that I was scared, and then they helped me.
There you go. That's another very good tip. If you're scared of the dark at home, then those of you guys who are watching, maybe talk to your mom and dad. See if they can give you some tips and talk you through it. Sometimes that helps. So let's go ahead to our story, Brave as I Can Be, by Joe Whittick. When I was little, I was afraid of everything. Little creaks and squeaks and booming thunderclaps. We talked about that. Teeny creepy crawlies. We talked about that. And monstrous pointy fangs, like Michael Jackson. I had a pile of fears as big as a mountain. And we see, to her, these fears were as big as a mountain. And we see two eyeballs there, like this mountain is alive. When I was scared, I would shiver as if I was outside in the snow. I would shut my eyes tight and clap my hands over my ears. I was closed up against the cold, as if I was in an igloo. I used to be scared of the dark. Was there a monster lurking in the shadows? But now I have a bright nightlight and my super-powered pajamas, which are 100% danger-proof. The neighbor's dog, we talked about that, can be very scary too, with his loud barks and thousands of teeth. But my mom says the dog is just saying hello. Holding her hand tightly, I say hello right back. And we can kind of see sometimes, just like this, is that dog really that big to the girl? That would be impossible, right? But sometimes our fears just seem so big, like Michael Jackson. But then we figure out, like, it's nothing really that scary. It's just a small dog or a tiny spider or the dark. And it's not really a big deal. And that goes kind of for everything in life. As you guys get older and older, you'll find that some things kind of can be scary. Maybe going off to your next school might seem scary, but once you're there, you'll realize it's kind of just like this school, but with older people, and you'll get used to the way it feels and what might be different, and realize that there's a lot more that's just kind of the same and it's not really all that big and scary. Once I let go of Mom's hand and poof, she disappeared, but I didn't panic. Sometimes moms get lost. Like a brave explorer, I spotted her through the crowd. Has anybody ever got lost in a store from their parent? That can be a scary, scary feeling when you're really little, right? Like you're fooling around in the clothes and she turns one direction for a half a second and you go to the next set of clothes and now she's looking for you over there. She's freaking out and you're looking for her over here, and for a few minutes or a few seconds, it gets really scary. And I bet for moms it even got really scary too, or dads, but she was right there. So it's not that big of a deal. Just make sure you don't wander too far. For those of you who are at home and might be a little smaller still. I'm in a galaxy far, far away and heading straight towards a fuzzy yarn monster. Quick, wake up. It was just a nightmare. My dreams scare me too sometimes. Anybody ever have a nightmare? Anybody ever have a really scary nightmare that almost seems so real? I have. When you woke up, was anything really wrong? No, it's just a dream. Nothing to be scared about. No reason to miss any future sleep. Sometimes we just have weird dreams. Sometimes maybe you ate something weird before you went to sleep and it causes you to have a strange dream. Trick or treat on Halloween. It's my turn to be scary. With a crackling laugh and a pointy hat, I scare my friends and my friends scare me. Sometimes it's fun to be scared. I love when Dad tells me my favorite spooky stories over and over again. Once upon a time. Anybody here like scary movies? So sometimes you might agree with her. It's fun to be scared just a little bit. Just a little bit though. When thunder booms and lightning flashes, I used to clench my teeth and my blankie. Now I tell my little sister, it's just a storm. Anybody have little brothers or sisters? Do you ever help them get over past something that is scary to them? Well, maybe soon they'll have something scary and you can help them just like you're helping your friends at home who might be scared of something. Now I tell my little sister, it's just a storm. Let's sing a song to give ourselves courage. My teacher can be very strict. When she is angry, her big black eyes make her look like an owl. But that's my own special secret. Imagining her feathers makes me brave. That's kind of funny. Beetles and butterflies, lizards and ladybugs, they slither and crawl and creep. But to them, I'm a big giant. If I'm scared of them, think of how scared they must be of me. And we talked about that too. I'm older now, and my mountain of fears doesn't look so huge. In fact, now that I am big, it looks very small indeed. Did you guys like that story? Yeah. I did too. So now let's talk a little bit about one of those things that we talked about, which was the dark. And usually when it's dark, it's 'cause it's night, right? Was anybody scared of nighttime when they were little? Okay, but there's a very cool thing that happens at night. We can see stars, and that's pretty special. They're there during the day, but we can't see them because it's too bright outside. But at nighttime, we actually can see them. Anybody know what color stars are?
Orange or yellow?
Good answer. But they're not all orange or yellow. Anybody else know what color stars are?
Silver?
Silvery. They kind of look like, when you first look at them, they all look kind of white, right? But if you stare at them a really long time, you start to notice there's some different colors going on there. Somebody else got a color for me?
Purple.
Not quite purple, but you're close. Reddish.
Gray.
Silvery, we talked about that. How about you?
Blue.
Blue. I think we covered them all. So we've got, did you have goldish, which is kind of like yellow. So, does anybody know why that is?
Because you're so far away from stars.
Well, not exactly. There is something that someone discovered about why stars look different colors. And each individual thing that is living has a temperature. And the temperature, you guys are a little older, so you might understand this, emits a wavelength. And that wavelength, according to the temperature, can appear to be a different color. So, when you're seeing the colors of the stars, it's because they're different temperatures. So we have from hottest to coldest. White stars are actually the hottest. They are above 25,000 degrees Celsius. That's really hot. Then next in line are blue stars, and those are about 25,000 degrees Celsius. Then we have green stars. Oh, we didn't say green stars, did we? Then we have green, and those are about 10,000 degrees Celsius. And we have yellowish, orangish. And probably the blue and the green kind of appear similar sometimes, but we have yellow-orange, and that's about 6,000 degrees. And then we have red, which is actually the coolest. That's weird, right? Because when we think of red, we think of hot, right? But it's not actually like that. So the red are actually the coolest ones, the coldest ones, and they're only about 3,000 degrees Celsius. So stars appear to us to be red, yellow, white, and blue. And the colors that I just covered are things along the wavelengths and what they appear to be when they are those temperatures. Pretty cool, huh? Did anybody know that? So we learned something today. Very cool. I'm happy about this. So, anybody know that there's different constellations out there? And constellations are things that people have looked up at the stars and looked up at the sky and said, hey, that looks like a spoon dipper thing. So we're gonna call that the Big Dipper. And we'll call that one that looks like a littler spoon dipper thing, a Little Dipper. And that kind of looks like a guy, like a soldier. And it looks like he's kind of got a belt and a sword over there. So we'll call that one Orion, because that's a guy that is a warrior, and yeah, we'll call him Orion. We'll call that star thing picture in the sky Orion. So there's lots of different names for different constellations. And constellations are groups of stars that kind of make a little bit of a picture. Has anybody ever seen a constellation or talked about constellations before? No? Okay, that's something for you to ask your parents about, or ask them to help you look that up on the internet. You have a poster of constellations. Very cool. So this one is called Orion and the Dark. My name is Orion. And I guess you could say I'm scared of a lot of things. Mom tells me I just have a big imagination and there's nothing to be frightened of. Well, that's easy for her to say. As far as I can see, the world is full of frightening things. But there is one thing that scares me more than anything else. It's the dark. And we can see in the dark, this person is imagining a whole lot of stuff. And for those of us who used to be scared of the dark, that kind of is how it goes. Like, it's really not so much the dark, but it's what you're imagining might be there in the dark that's the most scary. Of course, I've tried all kinds of things to solve the problem. So we see he's tried inventing the everlasting light bulb, and dressing up as an owl, and hiding from the dark, avoiding the dark, improving my night vision. That was another thing they tried. And everyone knows that an owl can see in the dark, and that's why we've tried to dress up as an owl. Painting my room with glow-in-the-dark paint. That's another strategy one can use. Night vision goggles. All sorts of stuff this person has tried to get rid of their fear of the dark. But nothing ever works. And before I know it, good night, Orion. Good night, Mom. He's in the dark again, and he's freaking out. So, this is what happens throughout the night, and we can see it's kind of light, and then it gets darker, and it gets darker, and it gets darker. The night that changed everything began like any other. I kept an eye out for monsters. I kept an ear out for scary noises, but as it got darker and darker and darker, I couldn't take it anymore. I've had enough of you, dark. I wish you and your scary sounds and your murky monsters and your pitch blackness would just go away. He's like standing on the bed screaming at the dark. So, gibbering jellyfish, and that's when something happened. And then it came inside my room. That's pretty crazy. I was feeling more scared than ever before, even more than when I went to that dog show with Grandma. But Mom always says it's important to remember your manners, especially when you are getting visitors. And what they said was, especially when you're getting monsters, I mean visitors. So they crossed out monsters and put visitors. So I said, hello, Orion. I'm Orion. Hello. And I put out my hand. Hello there, I'm the dark. Now, Orion, it's time for you to stop being so afraid of everything, especially me. Now, let's go on an adventure. Of course, normally I'd be scared stiff of going on an adventure, especially with a terrifying creature like the dark. But the dark was not quite what I expected. First, he asked to see the shadowy and scary parts of the house, the nooks and the crannies where the monsters live. In the closet, under the bed, down the drain, and in the basement. Anybody ever seen a scary basement? Yeah, basements can be kind of creepy sometimes, but they're not really scary. There's nothing down there. They just feel a little scary because, like, most of the time, nobody really goes down there in some of those basements, and they're full of cobwebs and they're a little dark. And you won't believe this, but some of the darkest places turned out to be the most fun. Anybody ever played hide and seek and hidden in the closets or in a scary corner, or what might seem like a scary corner? They're the most fun places to hide, right? Nobody can find you there. So, we hear all these strange sounds, tap, tap, squeak, 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 mumble. Even having fun couldn't stop me from being scared for long though. What are those horrible, creepy, and scary sounds coming from outside? Together we bravely went outside to find the frightening sounds. And when we found them, it turned out to be snores and crickets, and that's just Dad silly. And just normal sounds and tick-tocks of clocks and whistles and things like that. The dark asked me if I had stopped feeling afraid. I said I felt a little better, but there was still one place that made my knees wobble and my tummy twist with fright. That awful place where the dark is the darkest of all. And so on we went. And it was one last adventure all the way up in the night sky. There, in the darkest place of all, I realized that the dark could be fun, and the dark could be interesting, and the dark could be magical, and most of all, the dark could be my friend. And nobody, not even me, is scared of their best friend. But But too soon, we had to go home. And as the sun began to climb back up into the sky, my friend began to fade away. It was time to say goodbye. I didn't want the dark to go, and so he promised, I'll never be far away. And from that night on, he never was. And that is the end of our story. Did you guys like that one? Pretty cool. All right, so now it is time for us to have some dark of the night, starry sky, make our own art project. Fun time. Ready? All right, head over to the tables. So we're going to start by taking our balls, and for those of you at home, I found these at any hobby store. You can even probably find them at the dollar store in some version or another. And we're going to use Q-tips that we cut in half, and they're the cottony ones because those don't have extra color on them. So we're starting with the all-white Q-tips, and you're just going to start by making a row of them and try to stick them in cleanly so that they actually stick, and try and stick them in evenly so that it's easier when you go to roll them in your paint. Now you guys all should have a little wooden stick. These are little wooden dowels, very skinny ones. I found these, I think you can find them anywhere, any hobby store, any general store, like Walmart or someplace like that that has little crafts area. Find these. Dollar store might have them. Little skinny stick. You're gonna take that skinny stick and you're gonna stick it anywhere in your ball, but stick it far enough so it doesn't fall off. And then you are going to take the color that you've selected to make your star. And as you can see, I've got 2 stations for each 2 people. No, 2 stations for each 4 people. So 2 of you guys will share. So if both of you pick the same color, just share, give it a second, and let the other person have it after you're done. And what I did was I took the colors of the stars that we're doing, which are yellow, red, white, or blue, and I mixed a little bit of clear glue in those, clear washable glue, so that we can go ahead and take our star that is on, well, our almost star that's on our stick, and you are going to gently begin to dip the Q-tips into the color that you've selected. Hey everybody, I'm Miss Alene, and I hope you guys have had a lot of fun hanging out with us today at Austintown Intermediate School. And we are with Miss Houston's class, and we've had some fun today talking about the night, the light, stars in the sky, and getting over scary things. So until next time, hope you guys had a lot of fun listening to our 2 stories and our very cool Sparkly Star project. And until then, don't forget to tune in to Armstrong Cable channels 20 and 100. And for now, we say goodbye.